Have you ever wondered if love still has room to grow after 50? When the kids are grown, the house feels quieter, and you start hearing your own heartbeat again. Can love knock on your door once more? Today, let's explore the truth about late love and why it might just be the most real kind. For decades, society has whispered a silent message. Love belongs to the young. But what happens when life slows down and we finally have time to hear our own hearts again? Many people over 50 believe their season for love has passed. Years of raising children, building careers, or recovering from heartbreak have left them feeling like love is a closed chapter. But that's far from the truth. In fact, love after 50 often comes with more clarity, more purpose, and deeper connection. It's no longer about chasing butterflies, it's about walking hand in hand with someone who truly understands your journey. This isn't just a second chance, it's a more meaningful one. You've lived, you've learned, and now you love with intention. In this video, we'll uncover the stories, the struggles, and the quiet beauty of falling in love later in life. Because love doesn't retire, it simply evolves. Meet Carol, a 57-year-old retired schoolteacher from Oregon. After her divorce at 49, she believed her days of romance were long gone. Love just wasn't on my radar anymore, she said. I focused on my garden, my books, and spending time with my grandchildren. But one evening, during a friend's birthday dinner, she met Alan. He was kind, thoughtful, and most importantly, he listened. They talked about music from the 70s, raising children, and the strange comfort of silence between two people who didn't need to prove anything. At first, she hesitated. Am I too old to start again? What if I get hurt? But as weeks turned into months, the fear softened. It wasn't about passion like in my 20s. It was about companionship, respect, and feeling seen, she shared. Then there's Mark, a 61-year-old widower from New Jersey. After losing his wife of 30 years, he couldn't imagine loving again. For a long time, he didn't even try. Everything reminded me of her favorite songs, our Saturday morning routines, the scent of coffee brewing. I thought opening my heart again would be a betrayal. But time has a gentle way of nudging us forward. Mark joined a local photography group just to keep his mind occupied. That's where he met Diane, a fellow photography lover who'd also been through her own losses. At first, they shared only quiet walks and camera tips. But slowly, laughter returned. I realized I wasn't replacing anyone. I was simply rediscovering the capacity to love in a new way, he said. These stories are not rare. Every day, people in their 50s, 60s, even 70s are finding connections that feel more authentic than anything they knew before. What makes late-in-life love so special? It's the honesty. By this point, you know yourself better. You're not trying to impress with flashy moves or endless charm. You're simply showing up as you are. There's less pretense, fewer games, and when someone chooses you now, they're choosing all of you, your past, your scars, your quirks, and your quiet strength. Of course, it's not always easy. There are challenges, grown children who may not understand, friends who question your choices, your own fears of vulnerability. But those who've walked through the fire of life often love with more patience, more empathy, and more depth. Love after 50 isn't about recreating your youth. It's about embracing who you've become. It's sitting on the porch in comfortable silence. It's cooking together while laughing at old memories. It's being with someone who doesn't want to fix you, but wants to walk beside you. These are not just love stories. They are stories of healing, courage, and the quiet joy of connection. They remind us that it's never too late. Not for joy, not for hope, and certainly not for love. There's a moment, a quiet, deeply personal realization that often defines love after 50. It's not when you first lock eyes, not when you go on your first date. It's the moment you finally whisper to yourself, I deserve this. I deserve to be loved, just as I am now. For many, that moment is years in the making. Carol told us that realization came to her one morning as she watched Alan make coffee in her kitchen. Nothing glamorous, just the simple act of being present. She said, "He didn't ask me to be younger, thinner, or quieter. He just wanted to share a Sunday morning with me. And I realized, this is love. Grown-up, grounded love." Mark, the widower, described a similar turning point. He was sitting beside Diane, on a bench, watching the sunset. No words, just quiet companionship. I realized that grief and love can live in the same heart. That opening my heart to someone new didn't erase the past, it honored it. To understand why these moments feel so different, we reached out to Dr. Elena Moore, a relationship therapist with over 25 years of experience counseling couples over 50. She said, "The biggest difference in late-life love is emotional maturity. In your 20s or 30s, you often seek someone to complete you. But in your 50s or 60s, you're not looking to be completed. You're looking to be accepted." She continued, "People at this stage bring life experience to the table. They've navigated loss, disappointment, and resilience. That makes love richer, more intentional, less about fantasy, more about presence." This idea, that love after 50 is not about filling a void, but about sharing a full life, is what makes it so powerful. There's a tenderness that comes with being seen for who you truly are. Not the version of you on dating apps or in old photographs, but the real you. Laugh lines, past regrets, softening shoulders, and all. Dr. Moore shared that one of the most touching things she hears from older couples is this: "I feel safe here. I don't have to perform anymore." That safety creates space for a deeper kind of intimacy, one built on understanding, not urgency. It's a love that says, "I know your journey, I honor your wounds, and I choose to walk with you, gently, forward." And sometimes, love after 50 isn't even romantic in the traditional sense. It might be a deep friendship that blossoms into something more. It might be holding hands with someone who simply lets you exhale after decades of holding your breath. These are the moments that matter. They're not flashy, they won't make headlines, but they are real. And they change lives quietly, profoundly, permanently. Because the truth is this: love after 50 isn't a consolation prize. It's the reward for everything you've survived. It's the kind of love that doesn't ask you to change. It simply asks you to show up. When love re-enters your life after 50, it doesn't come crashing in like a storm. It arrives like the morning sun, quiet, warm, and steady. You begin to notice changes, not just in how you love, but in how you live. You're no longer caught in endless overthinking or chasing validation. Instead, you begin to appreciate the small gestures. A warm meal prepared without asking, a text that simply says, "thinking of you," or a hand reaching for yours during a quiet movie night. Emotional maturity becomes the foundation of everything. You've lived through years of expectations, disappointments, perhaps even betrayals. But now, your communication is clearer. Your needs are expressed without fear. Your boundaries are firm, yet gentle. Diane shared something beautiful about her relationship with Mark. "We don't waste time arguing over ego. If something hurts, we talk. If something matters, we listen. It's not perfect, but it's peaceful." That peace becomes the new romance. You may no longer need grand declarations or whirlwind dates. Instead, you crave consistency, kindness, and presence. And that's what love after 50 offers, the chance to be seen fully and loved anyway. Children may react with confusion or even resistance. Some fear their parent will get hurt again. Others may feel protective of the memory of a lost spouse. But many times, over time, they come to see what their parent needed all along: connection, joy, a sense of being chosen again. Carol spoke about her daughter's initial hesitation. At first, she didn't understand. She thought I was being impulsive or lonely. But then she saw how I laughed again, how I started singing while cooking again. That's when she told me, "Mom, I didn't realize how much you needed this." And it's not just about romantic love. Loving again can also mean relearning how to love yourself. After years of putting others first, children, partners, careers, this chapter gives you permission to put your heart back on the list. You start saying yes to invitations again. You buy new clothes, not to impress, but because they make you feel alive. You return to painting or hiking or simply sitting on your porch watching the world go by, with someone who enjoys the silence with you. This isn't the frantic love of youth. It's not about conquering or proving. It's about choosing every day to show up with softness and truth. In a world that often glorifies beginnings, love after 50 reminds us that middle chapters can be just as magical, sometimes more so. Because in this stage of life, love is not rushed. It's not confused. It's not conditional. It's love that knows loss, yet chooses joy. Love that's slower, but deeper. Love that, despite everything, still believes in connection. And perhaps that's what makes it so powerful, not because it's perfect, but because it's real, hard-earned, and deeply human. So what have we really discovered about love after 50? It's not a desperate search for someone to fill a void. It's not about rewriting the past or pretending to be younger than you are. It's a brave, conscious choice to open your heart again. Love after 50 is not a lesser love. It's not a second-rate version of what you had in your 20s or 30s. In many ways, it's deeper, more stable, and more meaningful than anything that came before. Because now, you bring your full self to the table. You bring the strength of having endured, the wisdom earned through loss, the softness that only comes after you've learned how to forgive, not just others, but yourself. And when someone loves you now, they love the person you fought to become. They see your history not as baggage, but as story. They hear your silence as comfort, not distance. They cherish your presence, not for what you offer, but simply for who you are. Let's pause and truly take that in. You are not too old. You are not too late. You are not done. If anything, this may be the most open, honest, and fulfilling chapter of your life. Because now, you love without illusion, but not without hope. You accept the gray hairs, the slower steps, the deeper laugh lines. You know that beauty isn't about perfection. It's about presence, being here, being real, being willing. For those who found love again, like Carol, Mark, Diane, you know how sacred it feels to be chosen, not out of impulse, but out of recognition. Someone sees you and says, yes, not because they need you to complete them, but because they want to walk beside you. And if you haven't found it yet, that's okay too. Sometimes the greatest love stories are still unfolding. Sometimes the most meaningful relationship begins when you fall in love with yourself again. Maybe love shows up through a new friendship, a travel partner, a person you meet while volunteering, hiking, or just buying coffee on an ordinary morning. Or maybe love returns as peace, the kind of peace that tells you you are whole. Love after 50 doesn't follow the rules of romance novels. It's quieter. It takes its time. but it's no less powerful. In fact, it's often more lasting, because it's built not on fantasy, but on truth. So, whether you are in love, seeking love, or simply staying open to the idea, let this be your reminder. You are still worthy. You are still radiant. And yes, love can still find you, even now. Now I want to hear from you. Have you experienced love after 50? Was it unexpected, healing, or beautifully complicated? Or are you still holding space in your heart, hoping that love might find you in its own quiet way? Whatever your story may be, I invite you to share it in the comments below. Because when we speak our truth, we help others feel seen, and maybe even a little braver. If this video touched something inside you, please consider liking and subscribing. Your support helps us keep sharing these powerful human stories that matter, especially for those of us navigating life's later chapters. And if you'd like to continue this journey, check out our next video, How to Open Your Heart Again After Heartbreak. It's filled with insight, hope, and tools to help you move forward, one gentle step at a time. Remember, love doesn't have an expiration date. It's never too late to begin again.